Chivalric virtues are an important part of the traditions and customs of Toussaint. They try to live their lives according to these rules, which were once given to them by a mysterious figure named the Lady of the Lake. But who is this Lady of the Lake? The title, the Lady of the Lake, has been used for several different people in The Witcher. Ciri has been nicknamed this title in the books, as well as Nimue, a sorceress from the future. There, however, is a third individual that has this name. A woman with green hair and green skin. Not everyone agrees on what she is, but most signs, according to Geralt, seem to indicate that she is a nymph. We know very little about the nymphs on The Witcher, except that they have been around longer than humans, elves and dwarves. They seem to prefer life in nature, which is one of the things that makes the Lady of the Lake stand out, as she seems to often look for contact with humans and other sentient races. But we don't know for sure that she is just a nymph. She is seen by a decent amount of people as a kind of goddess, which brings up the question whether she is a deity in The Witcher or just a nymph that is very capable at using a special kind of magic. The story of the Lady of the Lake goes back a decent amount of time. We do not know when, but she seems to have been motivated at one point to teach humans of the chivalric virtues. She tried to spread them around wherever she could, and some places were more successful than others, as can be seen in Toussaint, where her influence can still be seen and felt in everyday life. Some other attempts were a bit less successful. In Temeria, the Lady of the Lake had a strong presence around Lake Vizima. She helped bring peace between humans and Votinoi that lived there, in and around the lake. Once upon a time, the Lady of the Lake had several knights that were loyal to her. They served her, and they were guardians of peace and justice. Some of the knights died in their service. There was one who died defending her honor. There was another that was killed by a water beast, and some would never be found at all. But the vast majority of her knights met their end in their search for the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail turned into an obsession for many of her knights, who wanted to retrieve it for their lady. They left, even though it was not what the Lady of the Lake wanted. And while she disliked that they left, she never attempted to stop them, as she refused to intervene with their destiny. Within a short amount of time, all those knights that had served her near Lake Vizima were gone, and would never return. From the abundance of men following her, devoting themselves to her, eventually only 2 remained that didn't seek out the Holy Grail: the Hermit and the Fisher King. They were both very loyal to her, although they served her in different ways. The Fisher King seemed to mostly help her with food and protection, as the Lady of the Lake herself claimed at least, while the Hermit was more of a worshipper, who seemed to be familiar with the ways of magic that devoted his life to her. They seemed to follow her wherever she went, from Temeria to Toussaint, but still, there were more in Temeria that worshipped the Lady of the Lake, Votinoi from the Lake Vizima, along with some peasants from Murky Waters, who also saw her as a deity, largely due to the influence she's had on them as she established peace between the humans and Votinoi near the lake some time ago. They had built a large statue in their honor at the lake's edge, which was also the place of an altar to her, where a Votinoi priest would be found. Even though she had people that loved her because they saw her as a goddess, none loved her in a more normal way. At least none acted on it. And while she is possibly a goddess, that doesn't mean that she wouldn't want to spend some private time with someone. She was lonely, and in typical Witcher 1 fashion, you can sleep with her if you complete certain tasks for her and give her the correct compliment.
Your ass puts others to shame.
None has ever paid me such a compliment. My brave knights only praise my soul, though I knew where their eyes fixated.
Geralt first met the Lady of the Lake back on Black Tarn Isle in Lake Vizima. He here helped her bring back peace to the nearby shores of the lake by stopping Dagon from raising the Voynoi against the humans, as she wanted to prevent unnecessary bloodshed. Geralt did as he was asked, and in doing so became the new champion of the Lady of the Lake. She gave him the sword Aerondight, which you might be familiar with. The sword symbolized his role as her champion, as a knight of the Lady of the Lake, which made it an important blade, which of course Geralt lost when he stabbed a dragon in the face. For a number of years, the sword was lost, until Geralt of Rivia met the hermit once again, who he first met near Murky Waters 5 years prior. Geralt wouldn't be able to recognize the hermit due to the fact that he, with an illusion, had a different appearance, and to the people of Toussaint, this man was known as the Hermit of Lac Chelavie, and he would judge people on their virtues as a challenge, to see who was worthy of becoming a champion at night of the Lady of the Lake, and to claim Aerondight. From the start you can notice that there's something going on with him, as he recognizes you when you first approach him, as well as that the water doesn't act like water. After proving his worth in the 5 virtues of valor, honor, compassion, generosity and wisdom, the hermit challenges Geralt to a duel, to prove him that he was worthy of wielding it. Geralt of course won, and with this victory he once again became champion and knight of the Lady of the Lake. The appearance between The Witcher 1 and 3 of the Lady of the Lake differs quite a bit. This could be of course explained with the updated graphics. However, it has to be kept in mind that the Lady of the Lake is a possible goddess. Her hermit could change his appearance, so why wouldn't she be able to adapt to a different environment, like for example Toussaint? It seems like she does spend quite a lot of time in Toussaint, and she possibly has had influence on some events that you might not expect, like how it was said that she was responsible for the Cyclops Goliath at the start of Blood and Wine. According to legends, it was the Lady of the Lake who cursed the knight to become a monster as a result of his broken vows, something that is taken very seriously by some in Toussaint. But what exactly are the powers of the Lady of the Lake? We can see in the games that she has several water-related powers, which includes making the water surface walkable. The lady almost never uses her powers actively. She instead seems to affect the area she is in a mysterious way, resulting in protection and abundance for the local people. She seems to look for the good in people, to find those who one can consider virtuous and to help them on their path, without ever really forcing them to do anything. When it comes to deities and mysterious figures in The Witcher, there are a few we meet. There is Nymph, who acts as in a kind of similar way to how we can see the Lady of the Lake act, as we never see her really force anything on people as a goddess. On the other hand, we have Counter O'Dim, who we don't know what he is, but he is very powerful, and there are a few people that think of him as a kind of a god. Counter, of course, acts in a very different way compared to the Lady of the Lake and Nymph, making me think that he is more of a demon overlord rather than a godlike entity. So, let's go back to the question whether or not the Lady of the Lake is a goddess or nymph. In The Witcher 1, she outright tells Geralt that she is a goddess, and so does the hermit. It was Geralt's observations that classified her as a nymph. And even though she looks like a nymph, it could still be the case that she is a goddess that has chosen to appear as a nymph. It is not uncommon for gods in mythology to change their appearance into animals, so it could just be the case that the Lady of the Lake is a goddess that roams around the continent in the form of a nymph. But can gods bleed? She gives Geralt a bit of her blood in The Witcher 1 to summon Dagon, so he could defeat this monster. Although this blood was a ruby in texture, making it very possible that it only represented her blood, and that it didn't really come out of her veins. But what do you think? Is she a goddess or just a powerful nymph? Also, I am aware of the very obvious Lady of the Lake King Arthur connection. However, I thought of it as just so extremely obvious that I decided not to cover it in this video. Till the next video. Bye.
You have proven worthy of wielding the blade, beyond all doubt.
Behold, your Aerondight.
We've met before.
Certainly. The hermit admitted he knew you, remember?
The Lady of the Lake.
It is I. Forget not that you are a man right and honorable, devoted to doing good. And for these reasons you received the blade. Now bear it. And I trust this time you shall not lose it.